Next, we're going to move on to another exciting portion of the program. We're having the SNR Denton elevator pitch competition. And you'll hear from some innovative companies that are looking to raise money. Allow me to introduce Mark Friedman of SNR Denton.
Thank you, Marcus. Before I actually turn to my subject, I want to tell you that I was very much struck by the saying over there, Jersey Roots, Global Reach, because I think it not only is true, but it has a significance here that I want to emphasize. Last year, even though New Jersey is the 11th largest state in population in the United States, the largest number of patents issued by the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office were issued to inventors living in New Jersey. We were number one. And we were number one the year before that, and the year before that. Over 50% of the patents which are issued in the pharmaceutical field in the United States are issued to inventors that live in New Jersey. We certainly have a culture of innovation here, which is why this conference to me is as important as it is. The elevator pitch, as most of you know, is a very important tool in an inventor's toolkit, in an entrepreneur's toolkit. It's really critical that in just a couple minutes, an entrepreneur be able to light up the imagination of an investor and to be able to fuel the curiosity of that investor. So that investor can look at this idea, this concept, this plan, and say, you know what, that's really interesting. That's something I need to know more about. In its essence, that's what an elevator pitch is intended to do. As Marcus said, I'm Mark Friedman. I'm a partner with the law firm of SNR Denton. We have an extremely large and vibrant practice representing emerging technology companies, whether it's in corporate work, intellectual property work, securities work, licensing work. We do all of it, largely out of our offices right here in New Jersey and Short Hills, as well as in Palo Alto. We're very pleased to be sponsoring the SNR Denton elevator pitch competition. From almost 60 candidates, we've narrowed it down to 10 who were selected to give their elevator pitches to you as soon as I'm finished here. From the 10, a panel of judges who were also selected from different industry sectors are going to tally their points, and at the conclusion of that competition, we will be announcing the winner of the SNR Denton elevator pitch competition, who will be receiving a prize of $2,500 in recognition of the effort. I thank you for being here, and I'm excited to hear these presentations now, and I'm sure that you will very much enjoy listening to them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Before we begin with our first elevator pitch competition, may I please invite the judges to join the stage? So we have this esteemed panel of judges here today. And if they would introduce themselves, and then I'll bring on the first speaker. We'll start at Mr. Pisani then.
I'm Mark Pisani, CEO of United Craft Distillers.
Eric Rabb, CTO, and 5 Arrows.
Chris Sinka, 1984 graduate College of Engineering, Senior Vice President of Customer Squad.
Catherine O'Neill, Executive Director, Jumpstart New Jersey Aging Network.
Thank you, Brennan, Associate Vice President for Economic Development at Rutgers.
Executive Director of
I'm still Mark Friedman.
Larry Frankel, Managing Partner of Franklin Fusion Accounting Consulting Firm.
Thank you. Please welcome to the stage Lawrenceville Plasma Physics.
Hello everyone. Excited to be here today, thank you. And thanks to Rutgers for hosting this today. This has been great so far. My name is Aaron Blake. I'm CFO at Lawrenceville Plasma Physics. And today I'm going to talk to you about powering the world with focused fusion. Fusion, real basically, is the combining of elements to release energy, whereas fission is where you take something like iridium and you break it apart and create energy that way, or release energy. So today I'm going to talk about focused fusion, which is our alternative fusion approach. In the world today, we're all facing the problem of electricity use. Okay? In the United States, we use too much, it's too polluting. The rest of the world wants to use more, but they have too little, but the demand is exploding. We have the traditional sources of producing electricity, and then some alternatives that are coming online also. And we need all that we can get. Now, fusion, the joke is fusion is the power source of the future, and it always will be, because people have been looking into it for 50 years. But it's very difficult to do. These are the two big government-sponsored programs, the MIF using lasers to produce fusion, and ITER, which is being built in France to make a big tokamak style. These projects are maybe 30 years away from getting to where they need to be, maybe $30 billion, and they're not specifically designed to produce power. So the focused fusion solution we're using a different approach. It's an alternative device that we aim to scale up and produce this 5 megawatt compact, or clean, inexpensive, safe and compact electricity generator. And it's an innovative, low-cost approach where we take a whole bunch of electricity, fire it in an instant across these electrodes where it pinches together and forms this nice little ball. It compresses itself. Because of all the electricity flowing through it, it gets very, very hot. Hot enough to fuse these test fuels right now, but hopefully eventually the hydrogen boron, which is illustrated here, releasing a lot of energy. We're very close to reaching these test conditions right now. This is an example of going through an actual shot in our laboratory just up the road. That bright flash that you saw, that was the whole ignition. This is the process in slow motion. That bright spot is where the neutrons are released, and we have lots of shielding, so we're really worried about it. Okay. So the neat thing about it too is that we're already producing these fusion results. And how do we go from our experimental reactor to the full-blown generator? The next thing we have to do is get our machine up to full-scale power. We're at about 35 kilovolts. We need to get to 45 kilovolts. We're at 1 megaamp of current. We need to get to 2 megaamps of current. So we're almost there. We think we need about $750,000 in 1 year to get up to these ideal test conditions. And then beyond that, assuming we hit scientific feasibility, which means break even, we need about $38 million in 4 years for our commercial generators. Take it from the lab to the sales floor. So in 2009, we were issued a patent. It covered our 3 main innovations. And then earlier this year, in January, we had this peer-reviewed article appear in the Journal of Fusion Energy, where it showed our results compared with everybody else's. And for this dense plasma-focused device, we're at the top of the scale. And again, we're still shooting for higher results with higher power. So that's what we're working on now at Lawrenceville Plasma Physics. We're located just a couple miles up River Road. We welcome visitors, so if you'd like to come see what we're up to, we're certainly welcome to do that. Thank you for your time.
Please welcome to the stage East Tech Environment.
Hi everybody. First thing I'd like to know is where you take that course on how to do an elevator pitch. And second thing is this, Walt Disney once said it's kind of fun to do the impossible. About a month ago, Rutgers University called us to come down to Edison, New Jersey because they were having a problem in the wastewater system. They didn't really know how much they were supposed to pay Edison, New Jersey, and Edison, New Jersey really didn't know how much they were supposed to charge Rutgers. So what happened was we were asked to come down there with Middlesex Utility, and what they said to us was that we have an estimate to do this job for about $120,000. Our proposal came in at $11,000. Last week we were at the State House with the DEP. I don't know if you read in the paper, but what's happening is there's 250 combined sewer overflows that are dumping into all of the rivers in New Jersey, and the EPA, the federal EPA, is down in the back of the state DEP to do something. The estimate was approximately, to fix the problem, $8 billion, and to do the first phase of that problem, the estimate was about a couple $100 million. Our estimate and our proposal was $35 million. We also are working with Oradell, New Jersey, where last year they got hit with a 12% increase in wastewater treatment. Now that's a small town, that meant another $80,000 for these people, and they didn't know where to get the $80,000. We were able to work with them, and the first thing we did was we immediately showed them how to recover $50,000 of the $80,000, and now we are working with them to show them how to also recover another $100,000. So what we do is we do systems that are called smart wastewater. Okay, it's probably at this point an oxymoron, but what happened is this. Most of these wastewater systems, and according to the EPA, there is $400 billion required in the United States to fix our aging and crumbling wastewater system. The other interesting thing is that 25% of the water that we send to the wastewater treatment plant to be treated is clean ground and rainwater, which means that the system is crumbling and letting in all of this clean ground and rainwater. There is no way that we have $400 billion to fix our problem. So what we did was East Tech took a look at the problem and said, look, the technology that's being used is from 1930. The technology that's being used in order to find the problem is from 1970. There certainly has to be a better way than using technology that's 50 and 100 years old. So what we came up with was we came up with a smart wastewater system. The first thing we did was we developed ultrasonic sensors that were able to tell what was going on within the wastewater system in real time, and also could send that to a satellite and back to an engineer's desk. Okay? Previously, the only way to do this was to go down into the sewer, try to put in sensors and maintain those sensors because of the environment, which was costing everybody a fortune. Our system and our solution is probably 1/5 the cost of what everybody's doing right now. The other thing we discovered is that most of these communities are being billed for water treatment or wastewater treatment. Some of the meters are 20–30% high, and some of the meters are 20–30% low. So what happens is some communities are paying 30% too much, and other communities are paying 30% too little. Okay, so we also developed another smart technology, which is a hybrid technology that can accurately, instead of the 1930 technology that they're using right now, that could accurately measure the flow so that all of the communities in the United States would be able to fairly pay their share of what they owed on wastewater treatment. But the problem still went back to some other things. The main problem was that where do you get $400 billion? And at this point, with our technology, with the smart wastewater technology, what we realized was that if we could find where the infrastructure was crumbling and letting in all of the clean groundwater, that water would not have to go to the plant, no one would have to pay for that, and in turn, that money that would be saved by all of the communities, they could also put towards remediating the aging and crumbling system that we have. Our company does right now about $2 million in sales. We sell all over the world. And probably what we're looking at, we need another $3 million to take this out to every community within the United States. There have been communities that have been calling us, Sacramento, communities in South Carolina, Newark, Delaware. We just keep turning them down because we really do not have the funds at this point. We've already put $5 million into the company, $4 million from the founder, that we made, and $1 million from profits that the company has generated. The company is profitable. So what we've done here is we believe that we have a solution for the wastewater infrastructure in the United States. I'm getting the word to get off. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Sinclair. We have health options worldwide.
Vice President and co-founder of Health Options Worldwide. I'm excited to show you today how we're changing the way healthcare is being delivered. In my 7 years of healthcare experience, I've been exposed to many inefficiencies that patients never see. What we often see is that healthcare costs are out of control. We spend well over $2 trillion, which is more than the entire economy in France. This is also shockingly placing the U.S. healthcare spending as the fifth largest economy in the entire world. We break the numbers down even further, it represents 17% of our economy, and the numbers are projected to jump to 20% in the next 5 years. Surprisingly though, 75% of all healthcare costs are associated with preventable diseases. So there's enough time from diagnosis to treatment to make a value-based healthcare decision. Now, clearly there's a need to connect the dots between the ones paying the bill, giving the care, and receiving the care. We feel the greatest burden right now is being placed on the ones paying the bill. Their options typically range right now from increasing co-pays and payments to cutting benefits altogether. We offer them a third solution, and that's utilizing technologies to increase care while limiting costs. That's Health Options Worldwide. Within any organization, there's health risks, ranging from employees needing to get their flu shot to others going in for surgery. The key here is to deploy measures to lessen these risks from progressing. And this is exactly what we've done. We've developed a system that does just this. Our system is designed for payers and employers to streamline all their healthcare assets in one singular location. This gives their employees direct access to healthcare information all the way through to booking an appointment online with a healthcare provider. Now, because we've been able to streamline and expand the traditional service area of healthcare facilities, we've been able to secure significant cost reductions. This helps to manage healthcare costs significantly. We all can recognize the benefit of keeping costs low at the point of care, but what if we're able to remove the likelihood of needing care altogether? This is the concept behind prevention and wellness, and this is what we built. There's a need here to automate the disease management process. There's lots of chronic diseases out there that need to be addressed by something like this. Take, for example, my friend David. He has high cholesterol, and unfortunately his company has no system like this. So he never does anything to manage his healthcare conditions. So one day he gets sick, he goes into the doctor's office, a week later he's having a heart stimulator. We can all agree this is a significant gap in care. So our system would identify his risks, engage him frequently on to manage his healthcare condition, and ultimately lessen the likelihood of this disease from progressing. The goal here is how can we limit costs while improving care? And this is what our system has been able to do. I've been very proud of what we've accomplished thus far. We've built a system for basically half of what other companies have spent trying to design and launch a platform. We've established clinical and healthcare contracts both in the United States and abroad. And since the launch of this platform in July, we have a market opportunity and sales pipeline of over 4 million patients both in the United States and abroad. Now, as Steve Wozniak stated, Good people equal good products. And our team is made up of the former Undersecretary of Health and Human Services, the former Commissioner of Health and Senior Services for the state of New Jersey, an insurance executive, plus many others. We have a market-ready solution, so the goal here is increase sales. We need to target self-insured employers who are typically the ones paying the bill, and in need a solution like this. We can target both in the United States and abroad. Also, as we all know in this room today, technology is forever evolving. So the key here is how do we continue to push the innovation curve forward? Our team is dedicated to doing just that. Now, if you share the same passion I do about changing healthcare, I strongly recommend come talk to me afterwards, and we can talk together about how we can do this together. Thank you again for your time.
Tag Optics.
Hi everyone, my name is Christian Terrio, CEO of Tag Optics, and it's a pleasure to be here. Today, I'd like to share with you one of the latest innovations to come out of Princeton University. This is it. We call it the Tag lens. It stands for Tunable Acoustic Gradient, which is a very scientific way of saying that we're using sound to shape light. It confers radical performance and cost advantages to existing systems, as well as it enables new innovations across multiple verticals in many important sectors with specific consideration to healthcare and industrial settings. Basically, currently all optical systems, ranging from the small handheld camera to a really high-tech microscope, use the exact same system of moving lenses that Galileo used 400 years ago when he developed the world's first telescope. There's been a lot of innovation in the back end of optical setups, but technological limitations really limited innovations in the front end. Until now, we have a breakthrough technology that we can basically just send sound waves into a liquid and create a lens. This lens can then, is a single unit, that's what I'm holding in my hand right here. It can replace all the cumbersome moving lenses, like concave, convex, etc., and then basically confers radical performance enhancement to devices. For instance, it removes moving parts, and our lens is up to 3 orders of magnitude faster than its nearest competitor. We have identified several cost and radical performance advantages in many markets, both in biomedical imaging as well as in laser manufacturing. The beauty of it is that it is in use today. We can basically just plug and play it into many systems and put it into innovations that are going to go ahead and shape the optical world of tomorrow. Competitive advantages include novel, basically technology, of course. It increases functionality, yield, precision, and even throughput, which means that in a manufacturing setting, for example, we can actually lower the per unit cost of production. Our current customers are currently testing our device and exploring how to incorporate it as an OEM add-on. We have multiple customers that are looking in both the biomedical imaging. In biomedical imaging, we're looking at verticals that include skin cancer screening. In the laser manufacturing sector, one of our customers in Germany believes that just by integrating our lens into his device, he's going to be able to increase throughput by 2 to 3 times, which is very significant. Furthermore, I'd like to point out that all our current customers have actually contacted us. They've all been from inbound calls. In fact, our next major step as a company is to actually pursue an aggressive business-to-business marketing campaign. We have so far, since February when we started the company, we have pursued an organic growth strategy, raising financing from awards and pass-through fund sales. And basically right now, we are looking for additional financing to help us accelerate our growth. In summary, Tag Optics has a technology that is breakthrough and that will basically change the way that not only current technology work with optical setups, but enable novel innovation in the field. We know there's a market out there, given that we have customers who actually come to us to actually use the device, and we basically believe that we'll have a very profitable company in a couple of years. As I said, we have a very low overhead. We have already delivered on half a dozen sales since coming out with the device at the end of the summer, and are now aggressively pursuing a marketing campaign to basically bring the product to market. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Christian.
Please welcome to the stage Melissa Smith-Goldstein of Rubay.
Good afternoon, I'm Melissa Smith-Goldstein, and I am very pleased to be here today to present to you an exciting new retail concept in New York City, Rubay Bike Lounge. Because cycling is an effective and efficient way to move high volumes of people in an urban environment with the benefit of no carbon emissions, New York City has invested heavily in infrastructure, putting in over 400 miles of bike lanes with more included every year. Ridership is up significantly, and next year, an independent company is going to be bringing 10,000 rental bikes into New York City. It will be the largest bike share program in the country. Other cities' bike share has been tremendously successful. It's definitely a growing market. It may not be a high-tech market, although there are drivers within New York City who consider it to be disruptive technology. There's still a tremendous amount of opportunity, and that's where Rubay Bike Lounge is here to fill those needs. With quality products and accessories, bike service, and clothing specifically for the urban cyclist, wholesome foods and beverages. And here's how it will work. You're on your way to work, and you need air in your tires, coffee, and a breakfast sandwich. You go to Rubay Bike Lounge. You have a flat tire at 9 p.m. at night. You go to Rubay Bike Lounge. You need to see a great selection of ready-to-wear specifically designed for the urban cyclist. You go to Rubay Bike Lounge. You want to meet up with friends after work to have beer and a bite to eat and a safe place to park your bike. You go to Rubay Bike Lounge. You want to meet up with your weekend ride group before and after the ride. Rubay Bike Lounge. You want a place where you can take safe cycling classes or bike repair classes. You go to Rubay Bike Lounge. So, with all these serving the needs of this urban cyclist from 6 a.m. until at least 11 p.m. at night, the register is always ringing, and there's a big opportunity for repeat customers. I'm currently engaging in social media so that I can gain the exposure and credibility necessary to open this market with a bang. In fact, I invite you to follow me on Twitter, Melissa Bike NYC. I have deep retail experience with over 20 years as an executive. I know how to motivate high-performing teams to give powerful customer service, and I know how to run a profitable company. Most recently, I've been with Rutgers Business School. In 2009, I graduated with my executive MBA, and I am now ready to launch this exciting concept. I'm working with a fantastic advisory group with expertise in store design, branding, marketing, food service, and entrepreneurial expertise. I'm working with a small business development center, first in New Jersey and now in Manhattan. I'm working with a commercial real estate company, and it's a registered LLC within New York City. I expect to have revenues of about $1.2 million the first year, growing to $1.5 by the third year, and income projections will be growing along the way. The cafe will be the biggest part of the business, with strong margins in the cafe and accessory area. There's a wonderful opportunity for long-term development. I expect to open 5 locations in 5 years. After that, I will be in all 5 boroughs of New York City, and then open in other urban markets, including Boston, DC, Chicago, Minneapolis, Atlanta, etc. I'm looking to raise $400,000 in addition to money that I will be putting in personally for leasehold improvements, equipment purchases, retail inventory, and operating capital. So I invite you to join me in capitalizing on a very rapidly growing culture and launch this exciting new retail concept in New York City, Rubay Bike Lounge. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Please welcome Professor Anand Matabushi.
Good afternoon. I'm very happy to be talking about our technology, which is an image-based risk score, or IBIS, for predicting outcome, risk, and treatment in estrogen receptor-positive breast cancers. So, the current market opportunity is the following. There are about 130,000 women in the United States every year that are diagnosed with estrogen receptor-positive breast cancer. That number amounts to about 1 million women worldwide who are diagnosed with ER-positive breast cancer. The first line of treatment for women with ER-positive breast cancer is standard hormonal therapy. But it turns out that 50% of the women will not actually respond to hormonal therapy alone and will require adjuvant chemotherapy over and above standard hormonal therapy. But nonetheless, 50% of the women will respond to hormonal therapy, which means they do not require the additional chemotherapy. Now, chemotherapy obviously should not be given to women who don't need it because it has several deleterious side effects, some of which are listed here. So the clinical question then is, how do we distinguish between those women who do require the adjuvant chemotherapy over and above standard hormonal therapy, and how do we identify those 50% of the women who do not require the chemotherapy, who respond fine with just hormonal therapy alone? So our solution is the image-based risk score, or IBIS, for breast cancer prognosis. IBIS is clinically non-disruptive because essentially it's a computerized image analysis program that analyzes the prognostic information that's embedded in images of tissue specimens obtained by a standard biopsy. So any woman who's suspected of breast cancer is going to get a standard biopsy. That image or tissue image can be digitized by a digital scanner. The IBIS technology applies sophisticated image analysis algorithms on these digitized images of the tissue specimens to extract a number of quantitative image descriptors that characterize the spatial architecture and morphology of the tumor on the tissue specimens. Those quantitative image features are then converted into a risk score, with low scores representing good outcome tumors, ergo those are women who do not require adjuvant chemotherapy. And of course, at the other end of the spectrum, IBIS also gives the high risk scores, and those are women with severe or bad outcome tumors who are going to require hormonal therapy plus the adjuvant chemotherapy. And the great thing about this technology is that it is solely derived based off tissue specimens, digitized images of the tissue specimens, and the application of these image analysis algorithms on top of that. Now, the competitor in the market, the $700 million competitor, is Oncotype DX, which is a very expensive 21 gene expression molecular assay that involves destructive testing of the tissue specimen. The nice thing with IBIS, however, of course, is that it does not require any destruction of tissue specimen and only requires a digitized image of the tissue specimen. But more than that, it's 2 orders of magnitude cheaper than the competitor, which retails for about $4,000 a pop. Waiting for results is in a matter of hours with IBIS compared to weeks with Oncotype DX. The target consumer is the pathologist with IBIS, which means that the customer is further upstream in the pipeline. But most impressively, this technology can be applied to tissue specimens anywhere in the world. So because with Oncotype DX, the tissue specimens have to be physically shipped to the labs out in California, with IBIS, because we're operating off digitized images of tissue specimens, this could be applied on biopsy specimens coming from anywhere from Dubai to Africa to China to India. The current status is that we've completed validation of our technology on over 110 studies, and we found excellent agreement with Oncotype DX. And I emphasize the word agreement as opposed to accuracy because it means that about 85% of the time we agree with Oncotype DX, but when there is a disagreement, it's not clear whether we are correct or whether Oncotype DX is correct. Basically, that means we need to do the validation against survival and outcome, and that's precisely where we are, and that's exactly the experiment we've begun right now. To date, our funding has been a $200,000 grant, which we received 2 months ago via the SPIR mechanism from NIH, and we're waiting on additional funding to come through. We have a robust intellectual property portfolio, which is reflected here. We have an excellent, strong team that comprises of expertise in digital image analysis and computer vision, as well as a strong clinical team that comprises of pathologists and oncologists from the University of Pennsylvania, from UMDNJ, as well as the University of Buffalo, as well as excellent advisors who've got expertise in the digital pathology space and in life sciences startups. So going forward, we're basically looking for algorithmic validation refinement over the next 18 months, and essentially to do the validation against survival data, and beyond that, to go to the FDA with a 510K mechanism in order to approve, get IBIS FDA approved. The numbers here reflect some of the funding targets we're looking at. We're really looking for 2 things. One, to essentially put together a strong management team to raise capital, and essentially to get support for writing the 510K mechanism. Thank you very much.
Please welcome ScannerWorks.
Hello, I'm Beth Kelly. I'm the founder of ScannerWorks. I do have daily operations. And ScannerWorks is, I call it healthcare and consumer platform. So when you talk of healthcare, you usually think of things that when you're sick. I consider that sick care. Healthcare starts with what's in your shopping cart. It's all preventative. So basically, ScannerWorks is a tool that addresses a problem for millions of Americans. 40 million have dietary needs that require them to read a label because they either have a food allergy or they take a prescribed drug. Actually, 150 million Americans take a prescribed drug. You also have multiple issues among family members. I may have a child with an allergy, I may have a husband on a prescribed drug. There was no single automated, intuitive means for me to determine when I shop what was bad for them and what was good for them. We also have one of the features we'd like to incorporate, which is a way to attach coupons and savings to specific targeted offers. So this is what our market looks like. People managing condition or illness. Our food allergic population and ideological ethical practices right now comprise our biggest number of members. We have 8,000 subscribers on Android and on iPhone. And here are later adopters, are people that are taking prescribed drugs and people that are overweight. So I put a face to all those little bar charts you just saw. And here you can see what our landscape looks like. But I would say the people that are on a diet are going to comprise our biggest cost to the healthcare system. So if you don't make this sort of healthcare for dummies, you will make a dent in what our astronomical healthcare will be. So this is sort of the people that we have on our particular user platform that are using this. One of the things that started me on this was I am sort of a analyst. I should say not sort of, I am an analyst, and I spent a 20-year career in various agencies, the New York Stock Exchange being my last. And I developed a program that allowed me to determine certain stocks that were in and outside of a regular trading pattern and detect insider trading prior to that. I used the same programming logic for dietary profile. Show me what fits within this specific parameter and kick out everything that doesn't. So you download the app on your iPhone or your Android. You set up a profile of diets, prescriptions. You can even put in allowances. For every diet you choose, we actually translate all the terms that indicate the presence of that specific substance. So you don't have to have a PhD in chemistry to know that curd is also harmful to someone with a milk allergy. And you can put in your prescribed drug. If you don't see it, you type it in, and we get back to you, we add it to your profile. And you can even put in, those are our diets. I go up, I meant to go down. What happened here? We're not advancing. Okay, so anyway, the minute you log on to your handset, whether or not you scan anything, you immediately get a recall message for anything that may be in your scanning history. So there are a lot of recalls, I should say cantaloupes are recalled, we put that out on Twitter as well. But this individual, that particular product was in their scanning history. The minute it was recalled, they got that message on their handset. So here you scan the barcode of the product, you get immediate compatibility results. You can get ingredients and substitutions. Here's your list of substitutes. Click on any one of them. So basically, we are patented. I think, unlike some of the other commentators, patents are wonderful. ScannerWorks has a patent that allows it to deliver customized results for a multiple number of users on the same account. That can be a family, that can be Groupon members, an e-tailer or retailer, any environment. So here's our information for consumers. We get data no one else is collecting. I can tell you top prescriptions, I can tell you top selected diets and top allowances. And here you can see that our users basically have a way to reach us and see us. We're part of the Droid Does campaign. And win fans. That's probably the most important thing. You can get onto our website and see all the testimonials from some of these folks. You can also see some of the recent awards and press we've won. Thanks so much for listening.
Is Serate Tech in the building? Serate Tech?
Hi everyone, my name is Ife. I'm the co-founder and CTO of Serate Tech. I'm here to tell you about an exciting new solar cell technology that we have developed in collaboration with Princeton. Everyone everyone will tell you solar cells are great, right? They convert free and plentiful sunlight into electricity. Improves national security, creates jobs, protects the environment. But if you look at the data, only about 0.1% of the electricity that we use today comes from solar cells. Why the discrepancy? It is because the manufacturing costs of the current solar cells are too high. And because of this high manufacturing cost, the electricity that comes from solar cells, which I'll call solar electricity, costs more than twice as much as what's called the grid parity price. Grid parity price refers to the price of electricity that comes from conventional carbon sources, such as coal and natural gas. And there's no way for solar electricity to compete in with such a huge price gap. And given the current learning curve, it's going to take more than 10 years before solar cell will catch up to grid parity. Serate Tech has created a new manufacturing technique that can make this happen in 3 years. Now you might ask, so what? Data suggests that if we create grid parity with Serate Tech's technology, we can expect solar electricity usage to increase 125 times to about 20% of the total electricity consumption. And that, in turn, is going to drive the annual market size for photovoltaics and solar cells to grow 6 times to $88 billion. So we simultaneously realize the social, political, and environmental imperatives and a huge profit potential. So here's how our process actually works. This is how we're going to achieve grid parity. If you take a look at the conventional process for making solar cells, it is a high temperature and very energy intensive process. And as a result, it uses expensive vacuum equipment, expensive gases, and the whole overall process costs a lot. The Serate Tech's patented proprietary process is as simple as spray painting. We apply a thin layer of organic material on the silicon wafer to achieve the same function as the conventional process. It's low temperature, energy efficient, does not require any expensive equipment or gases. So the bottom line is we can create highly efficient solar cells at a fraction of the conventional cost. So moving forward, we've already, as I mentioned, we've already patented this technology. We formed a company and an advisory panel. So moving forward, we hope to focus on our core expertise of technology development, and we'll find a manufacturing partner to license our cell technology to help us commercialize this product. Thank you for your attention.
Is tube pricing by timing? We'll move to power flower solar.
I'm timing myself here, I'm not texting. Alright, so my name is Patrick Murphy, this is Jason Halpern, and we co-founded Power Flower Solar. We are a seed stage company, founded about 5 years ago, 6. And we designed portable renewable energy generators to bring solar to areas where it is most valuable. Our first product, the PFS tactical generator, is designed for the Department of Defense and will allow them to turn their fleet of dumb diesel generators into smart solar diesel hybrids.
So why the DoD? The DoD is the largest single energy user in the world, but they use energy a lot differently than we do here in the US. Many of their high energy places are in forward operating bases around the world that don't have access to a reliable power grid. Now, they have to truck fuel into these areas because they're supplied by diesel generators. This is astronomically expensive. There we go. They spend $4 billion a year on generator fuel alone, and it costs them anywhere from $40 to $400 a gallon in forward operating bases to transport the fuel out there. Now that's the fully burdened cost of fuel, and this is so expensive because fuel convoys are constantly attacked. This is a really, sorry about that, it's not, there, let's take it down. Fuel convoys are constantly attacked, particularly in Afghanistan right now. 70% of battlefield casualties happen on the road, and this creates a huge logistical burden for the DoD, and a problem they're very aware of and looking around now for solutions.
So our solution to that problem is the PFS tactical generator. Now, we're looking to hybridize their existing diesel generator fleet nothing can completely replace them. There's a lot of good things about them. So this is the PFS tactical generator. It is a diesel generator hybridization unit. It has everything in it, solar cells, energy storage, power conversion, everything you need to cut diesel generator runtime and increase efficiency in operation. There's our picture of our prototype that's actually on display over there if you want to check it out later. 600-watt solar layer and a support layer that has everything else underneath it. So this is incredibly mobile solar power. Now you might be thinking, yeah, I've seen a solar generator before these things exist, but this is a step above. It uses the newest technology. It's the best system. And just to give you an idea of the advantages here, this is a huge leap above technology that's out there now. They should have been augmenting the generators from 10 years ago. The tech existed, but they haven't. We've got a solution that crosses the barriers of usability, deployability, and transportability. It's going to allow them to really take advantage of this opportunity. We spent a lot of time understanding the problems and developing the tech that actually solve this issue of moving solar power to the battlefield. It doesn't matter how good we are if we don't actually solve the problem. Here's an example of the impact. So there's a standard 10 kilowatt TQG for an R unit and the generator right there. Take a look at fuel consumption over the course of a year. We expect a 50% reduction in fuel consumption. That gives them a 1-year break even on our device. It's a huge opportunity. Take a look at that over 5 years. We're talking about saving 3 trucks over the course of 5 years. That, across their entire 125,000 diesel generators, is an incredible opportunity. So right now, we are funded by the state of New Jersey. We received the Edison Innovation Clean Tech R&D grant. We have private investors on board, and we're seeking $300,000 to complete beta prototypes and to enter our markets of defense and also disaster relief and bring those prototypes around and get the interest. So, thank you so much.
Thank you. That concludes the entries for the SNR Denton pitch competition. While the judges tally the scores, we'll have a presentation on a joint collaboration between UMDMJ and Rutgers University.
Thank you for this opportunity. So I treat breast cancer, and breast cancer in 2011 is still a huge problem. It's one of the leading causes of morbidity and mortality in the United States and also across the globe. We expect about 200,000 new diagnoses per year and about 40,000 or so deaths related to breast cancer. Second only to lung cancer as a cause of cancer mortality. Despite the fact that we spent 10 years, billions of dollars, and published extensively in breast cancer, we really have seen only modest and incremental improvements in breast cancer mortality. We really haven't seen the kind of transformative or disruptive, if you will, intervention that would truly alter or decrease the impact of breast cancer. One of the things we have learned over the past several decades is that small, early-stage breast cancers are in fact highly curable, especially when they are found in the pre-invasive or pre-malignant DCIS condition before they invade the membrane of the gut. And we have also demonstrated that screening programs, mammographic screening programs, can reduce mortality in women over the age of 50. So following that line of logic, more accurate screening and more access to screening should dramatically improve breast cancer mortality. And despite some of the success of mammographic screening, there are several barriers to universal adoption of this type of screening program. Mammograms are expensive, the machines are expensive, the radiologist is expensive. Those two factors alone really limit the adoption of this technology in the third world. And then the accuracy of mammograms tends to go down in the more glandular younger breast, and they are associated with radiation exposure. Still though, despite that, mammograms do lead to about 700,000 breast biopsies annually. And breast surgeons are the earliest adopters of ultrasound technology. So what's our solution to the problem? We have developed a novel method of finding structures on a nanoscale by ultrasound. And how do we do this? On the front end, we change the conventional ultrasound probe to pulse wave, from pulse wave to continuous wave. On the back end, we have novel proprietary algorithms for digital signal processing developed by Professor Richard Ramon. And the combination of these, we've demonstrated that we can actually detect extremely small abnormalities in breast models. We tend to follow this work up with developing more of these low-cost probes, enhancing our algorithms to find smaller and smaller structures as we bring this experience to humans. We also want to develop a mapping feature that will allow us to reliably screen the entire breast without missing any parts of it. And finally, using pattern recognition algorithms, we will be able to flag suspicious lesions for review either by radiologists or possibly for biopsy. What you're seeing here is actually the signal from a continuous wave ultrasound, either with or without our signal processing algorithm. You can see the two peaks there corresponding to the hidden microcalcifications in the breast model. Safety considerations, suffice it to say that our device adheres to the FDA's recommendations for fetal ultrasound, and of course ultrasounds are not associated with ionizing radiation. Is there a market for this? Well, of course there's a market for this. In 2009, the market in the US alone was about $10 billion. About 41% of women in the US were screened for breast cancer. That's about 45 million women. But our model for this is a little bit different. We intend to actually bring these low-cost handheld ultrasounds to the primary care provider, the point-of-care provider. We really are viewing this technology as an extension of the primary care provider's physical exam. So a patient comes to the office, you do a history of the physical, and then you also screen them for breast cancer using this inexpensive, low-cost handheld ultrasound unit that can be plugged in by USB into a laptop or a computer or even a cell phone. And beyond the US, we anticipate bringing this technology to the developing world, to the BRIC economies, Brazil, Russia, India, and China. We feel there's tremendous potential for human health improvement in these areas using this technology, and also in terms of the markets, the ultrasound markets in these economies that is continuously growing. And in terms of exit strategy, we feel there are several medical imaging device vendors that are currently operating in this area that we would be attractive acquisition targets for. I think that's it. If you have any questions, please come and see me by the poster outside. I'll be happy to take any questions.
So the judges have tallied their scores. Mark is about to say who the winner is. After we announce the winner, there'll be the winner wins the cash reward, and the two runner-ups get consulting. And I'm trying to stall here. When this is done, then we can all go over into the poster sessions where people will be presenting their work there. So, Mark, are you ready? Okay. You can just stand up to that microphone.
Thank you, Rick. This was actually a very close outcome. What I'm going to do is announce the third place winner, the second place winner, and then the first place winner, who will be receiving, as I said, a sum of $2,500. First of all, before we do that, can we have a hand for everybody? I thought they were. I thought it was excellent presentations and fascinating subject matter. The third place winner is Scanner Revert. No cash prize, sorry. Okay. Yes. The second place winner, Tagway. And the first place winner, the winner of the initial SNR Denton elevator pitch contest, Professor Matabushi for IBIS.
So if everyone wants to now go over to the poster session where the small companies are waiting to